Welcome back to the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network Fireside Chat. Today I've got a fun guest, Brian Passenti, who is a longtime friend of Run, Try, Bike and a member of the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse. If you've seen a picture of me eating an Impossible Whopper at across the years, that is because Brian, on his way out of the park to get some miles into the mountains, asked me what I needed. I said I needed an Impossible Whopper. And when he came back, he brought one for me. So I am indebted to him for the rest of my life because of that Whopper. It was fantastic. Before I bring Brian on and we start talking about all sorts of things, from him going to college as a 51-year-old to having raced Leadville 10 times to racing this upcoming week at the Jackpot Ultras 100, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platform. If you're using Spotify or YouTube, please comment. Of course, it helps us with the algorithm, but honestly, more than that, I really love seeing those comments when I wake up in the morning and open up YouTube and Spotify to check out that the podcast was uploaded properly, and seeing the comments in there really makes for a wonderful way to start the day. Also, before I forget, the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse, we are always accepting members. It is a cost-effective way to connect with runners in the community, connect with triathletes, swimmers, coaches, dietitians, you name it. They're all in there. It is $15 a year or $25 for a lifetime. So come hang out with us. The benefits start right away, from discount codes that we have to ultimately the great connections and friendships you will make all along the way. So without any more rambling from me, let's bring Brian on the show and let's have a good time. My friend, how are you?
I'm well, Jason. Good to see you again. How are you doing?
You too. I'm doing great. Behind him, you might be able to see this if you're on YouTube, is his logo for Altitude Endurance Coaching, which I told Brian when we were in the green room was I kept reading it as Attitude Endurance Coaching, and I think the name fits, right?
Yeah, I'll go with it. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Just call me, whatever it is. Just make sure you call me.
We have known each other, I think, for about 4 years now, maybe 5. Like, we started the company 5 years ago, and I think and you connected maybe 4 years ago to tell your story about your sobriety journey, which is 9 years in December, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Ohm and I connected through some social media stuff related to sobriety. We were on the same journey, and we immediately connected. And Ohm and I kind of through Run, Try, Bike, did a little collaboration and some stories and some promotion stuff together about, I think at the time it was my 7-year or 6-year anniversary of sobriety. And thanks for the reminder. Just recently in December, I hit 9 years sobriety. I was actually just running the other day and I was thinking, man, like next year, I mean, it's still a ways away. I take it day by day, never counting your eggs before they hatch. And so but next year's 10 years, like it's insane that just day by day, it added up to so many days like that. That's just like crazy to me. Like, and quite honestly, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but when I was drinking and using drugs and that kind of stuff, I never really thought like I could string that many days of sobriety together. And
Agreed.
Yeah. And so, 9+ years, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, dude, I've been sober for 12 or 13 years now myself. And it is day by day, even to this day, it's day by day. And it is, for lack of a better word, a miracle, right? There are so many days where so much shit could have gone wrong and wound up in the wrong direction. And yet here we both are, and showing people that, look, you can get out of it and live a fruitful life when it's all said and done. I don't know if you get this question, but I do, which is like, why did you quit drinking? And I mean, my easy answer, I guess, or just the real answer is I was an asshole when I was a drunk, right? Like I was just a complete and utter asshole. And when I stopped drinking, like
I wasn't, just for the record.
Like the world got brighter, and to bring it back to endurance sports, like these sports got easier for me because I was recovered, like physically recovered from it all. Like were you already running when you were doing drugs and alcohol?
That's a great question. I love it, and I get it quite often because we see like in the overarching like endurance sports, see people that were struggling with addiction and they
Yeah.
turn to exercise. And I've always been a lifelong runner. I've ran since I was 10 years old. A distance prodigy, standout in elementary school, middle school. I ran through the service years, and I did a decade and a half of a triathlon before I found ultra running and just started uh, sticking to the trails in the mountains. And so I was using through all that time. So my trajectory is a little bit different. I was, and I could tell towards the end of my drinking career that I was missing workouts, or the
Yeah.
quality of the workouts was just disintegrating and falling apart. And I'd be like, man, I'm like almost too hungover to go run,
Yep.
like, and so like the run would be affected from it. And yeah, day by day, they added up, and you're absolutely right. Like even on those tough days, I I still like, I think like we all have tough days. I mean, just getting sober doesn't make it an easy
Right.
lifestyle, right? I
Right.
mean, like we all struggle. We still have the same drama going on. We're just dealing with it differently.
Yeah.
And so like even on a tough day, I just sit down and I'm like, man, like I didn't drink or use drugs today though. Like no
Yeah.
matter how bad it got, like I'm still good. I'm still in the clear. I still
Yeah.
added one more little day to the notch of, and those days added up to 9+ years at this point.
One of the things I want to focus on right there, what you said, and it's something I say all the time, is that running is hard. Like, I know it often gets glamorized on social media. I did X, I did Y, I went this far, I went this fast. And not enough people talk about the hard part of it all. Like, there are days where waking up and going for a run just absolutely sucks. There are days where runs don't go the way you want them to, and they suck. As a lifelong runner and now a coach, how do you deal with it personally when it's hard and it sucks? And then how do you relay that to the athletes that you're coaching? Because they're not one and the same. Their personality may not match yours.
That's right, and that's exactly right. I as a lifelong runner, I kind of know if I strap on my shoes and at least I get 10 minutes down the road, I should probably feel better no matter what's going on in my day. And and maybe I only have time for 30 minutes as opposed to the planned workout of 75 minutes with these intervals and this intricate scenario going on. And I'm like, my day just got away from me and I got 30 minutes, instead of bagging the whole workout. I know as a lifelong runner that I'm going to feel better even if I just put on the shoes and get out for that 15 minutes out the door one way, turn around at the
Yeah.
mailbox, come back 15 minutes. I'm still going to be okay. I'm going to feel much better for having done that. Trying to convince other people that is a challenge sometimes, as a coach. So going to the coaching side of it, it's a challenge. And I challenge the athletes, like, just try it, just put on the shoes and just go down the street. It doesn't have to be the structured workout. I had an athlete meeting this morning, and the athlete, I get this pretty often, and it surprises me sometimes, but if you're here and we're building a relationship and we're working together towards your goals, and I'm trying to help you get there. Now it's our goals is how I
Yep.
see it. But I got the thing this morning where the athlete said, "Oh, I went out and I put on my shoes, coach, because I didn't want to let you down." And I'm like, first off, like, you're never going to let me down. Like, I get that we're all trying. We have busy lives. I'm not making any money. Like from showing up at a race and winning a
Right.
race. I mean, I'm a coaching business makes money through coaching, but not the same way. I'm not a professional athlete by any means. I'm not coaching professional athletes. And so it's got to be fun. You got to be able to fit it in. You got to squeeze it in. But man, if there's a kids softball game, maybe you might go to the kids softball game and watch that and back off the run and do that 30 minutes instead of
Yeah.
the 75 minutes prescribed. So I don't know if that answers the question, but it's kind of like, like we're as long as you're doing the best you can. I mean, I have faith that we can get something done and we can achieve great things together.
I think it does answer the question and very well, because oftentimes we'll get a training plan from a coach or we build our own, and we become so rigid and focused on that training plan that we do lose sight of the fun that we're supposed to be having while we're doing this stuff.
Mhm.
Because to your point, 98% of us aren't making money on running, right? The money is going out, it's not coming in. And so you might as well have fun with it if the money is going out. Like, think of it this way: if you paid money to go to a movie, right? and it sucked, you probably wouldn't want to go back to that same movie again. Right. So if you're paying money to run and it sucks, you probably wouldn't want to do it. And sometimes we make it not fun by being so rigid with our training plans. Do you use Training Peaks?
I do. Yeah. I'm a Training Peaks level 2 coach. And Boulder is just across the mountain range for me, about 3 hours. So I get over there and do some of their hands-on seminars and really try to keep on top of my Training Peaks credentials, because it's such a great tool. I do use Training Peaks.
Yeah, I use it too. And for some of the athletes I coach, if it's all green, I'm like, there's a problem here. Something is missed outside of this, right? And so when I talk to them, I'm like, your Training Peak should look like a Christmas tree. A lot of green, but some reds and some yellows or oranges in there as well. Like, it shouldn't all be green.
Yeah, totally. And you've seen it apparently, because you have that atypical athlete and they're just checking all the boxes. And I'm always digging in. And I'm like, did you really do the 20 minutes of yoga? You know, and I'm like, they're checking the heart rate. And I'm like, yeah, they checked it off. They did it. But like, yeah, it's okay. Like, miss one or move it or like, you know, or do a little bit less. Do just 10 minutes of it, you know.
The reason why I want to focus on this is because they're going to be beginner athletes, whether they're triathletes, swimmers, cyclists, or runners, that are watching this or listening to this. And they're going to be like, if I don't do this, my coach is going to be upset with me, which 9.9 times out of 10, that's actually not the case. And your training plan doesn't go to complete shit because you missed one workout or you had to move it by a day.
Yeah, totally. You know, the other, just a thought on that is that, for like that new athlete listening and those guys that are just getting introduced to the sport, getting some exercise, getting endurance. Maybe you're not even here to race. Maybe you're just here to because it's been a minute and you need to figure out how to deal with some stress in your life, right? Whatever the reasons that you're showing up here. You know, I think the concept of a coach, I had a coach call 3 months ago, and I wrote a blog about it because I've heard it before, but this one stood out to me. He said, "Oh, as soon as what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you back in a month, coach. I'm going to get in shape now, and then I'm going to call you in a month." And I'm like, "What?" Like so I relate it to like my mother-in-law hired a housekeeper to come and clean her house once a week. She would clean before the housekeeper showed up. And I was like, what? Like, that's the same idea. Like, why are we doing that? Like, that's the point of you hiring me as a coach. I could build a structure. We could do the proper volume. We could make sure that the numbers are looking good, that we could set heart rate zones. Like, we could get a lot of work done in a month. So by that end of that month, now we're really diving into some training and some direction, right? As opposed to like, you winging it for a month and maybe doing some bad habits, maybe you even show up injured in a month later if you do call me, right? So yeah, so I would offer that as information for that listener.
That is a great analogy. That is an absolutely fantastic analogy. Question for you: you were talking about if I can get my 30-minute run versus 75-minute run. After this, we record this episode, I'm going for my run. I've moved from the 3:30, 4 a.m. alarm and getting my run in before the day to now doing it at the end of the day. When do you run? Or do you have I'm always a morning runner, I'm always a lunch runner, I'm always an evening runner, or my day is scattered about between now studying for your degree, which we're going to talk about, coaching, being a parent, being a husband? Is it like I'm going to get it in and when I get it in, or do you have a time set?
I try my best to get it in before lunch. I see the best results in my workouts in the structure that I'm doing. The goal of the workout is met the best if I get my workout in before lunch. I start to get brain fatigue from being on the computer after lunch, and I start to get all these other things going on. And it's not physical tiredness, but then I could tell the quality of the workout isn't as good for me, and that's just me currently. So I try to get it in before lunch, but I have an open door policy for my athletes. They can just throw time up on my calendar and I jump on a meeting just like this with them. And we'll talk about their training, move things around. Hey, something came up. We got to switch to this and that, cool, let's do it. So sometimes my schedule doesn't allow that. And then sometimes I'm just getting it when I can. I mean, I'll run just like you are going to this evening. I will run late into the evening hours with a headlamp on. I have a 3-year-old border collie here named Bailey, and she doesn't care what time we run. So, so I always have to get her out too. Like that's the other
Yeah.
goal here. Like, and so like she loves intervals. She loves long, slow runs. She just loves to run. She doesn't care. She just do anything to get out the house. So, so
You
it's
just
an easy motivation to keep me going.
That's awesome. You just reminded me about going out with a headlamp, and we're going to talk about this, but we might as well talk about it now. So August of 2025, you crossed the finish line of the Leadville 100 for the 10th time, which gives you 1,000 miles at Leadville's event. What is so special about that event for you that you not only did it once, but you've done it 10 times and you're going back in August of 2026?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question. It was never the plan. Like I didn't show up 17 years ago or in 2010 and be like, I'm going to get 1,000 miles here. Like I just did it one by one. In 2010, I applied. It was before the lottery process. So maybe a few of you might remember that if you're old like I am. But I mailed Ken and Marilee a check to a P.O. box at Leadville Trail 100, and I mailed them a check and an application that I printed off and I wrote out with a pencil. And 3 weeks later, they mailed me a letter and they said, "We'll see you in May," And so I started training, and that was like, I want to say it was like right around this time of year, February or March.
Yeah.
So that was that same year. So I mean, like, the race wasn't full, there was no lottery, there was no nothing. I wrote my check just like we used to do back in the triathlon days.
Before you go on, like, how did you hear about it? Because again, like everything back in 2010 was not what it is today. So how did you hear about it, and what made you say, I can't wait to mail in this application?
It's not that long ago. We did have internet and we did have Google. Okay, it wasn't like the Stone Age. It wasn't 1910, Jason. It was 2010. But anyway, it's a great question. So 2009 is when Christopher McDougall's Born to Run book came out. I think it was later that year, like October or so that year of 2009. And I had just got done racing. November, I raced Ironman Arizona in Tempe, Arizona in 2009. And I didn't have a great race. I broke a spoke, my front wheel, my freaking wheel was doing this. The speed wobbles. I was riding it slowly, waiting for the sag wagon, and he didn't notice me flagging him down, and he kept on driving. So I had to wait for the next sag wagon to like get a new. And I wound up trading the wheel because he wanted to fix the spoke, and I'm like, we're not going to fix a spoke on the side of this race course. Like,
No,
let's just trade the wheel out. And I was like, just give me your garbage wheel and I'll give you my high end wheel and I'll get it back at the finish line. Like, I'm not going to walk off with your garbage wheel. Like, like just give me a front wheel, man. Like, let's go. So I wound up finishing the race. It was fine. But I was a little discouraged, and I was at the gym. I go to the gym like the next week. I get on the treadmill. I live in Western Colorado, pretty cold climate. So getting around Thanksgiving time. And this lady that I've known forever, she was a waitress in town, a real nice lady, Michelle. She does the 5K, 10Ks, local races. Nothing wrong with that. She's a swimmer, and she works out at the gym. And she like comes out of the locker room and sees me and then goes back in. And I didn't think anything of it until hindsight, right? But she comes back out and she hands me Born to Run. She said, "Hey, I read this book." She's like, "It was really interesting." She said, "And for some reason, I thought you should read it too." And she's like, I just saved it. She's like, when I read this book, I thought, man, my friend Brian should read this book. So I dove right into it, and I was hooked instantly with all the lore. And Leadville, as the crow flies, is Turquoise Lake is probably about 45 miles away as the crow flies. It takes me about an hour and 20 minutes to drive around in the mountain roads where I live. But as the crow flies, it's not that far from my house at all. And so we didn't have kids at the time. We were planning a family. We had just been married. So I was like, man, Leadville's close to home. I don't have to travel too far. It's not too much of a travel commitment. I was already doing Ironman. So like I was in the marathon scene, or at least I was experienced with that, but there was a ton of fear. Like 100 miles, that's 4 times longer. And I went and looked up the result. I didn't even know what the results were. I looked them up and I was like, these guys are winning this thing in 18 hours all the way to 30. And I was like, man, I've only done 12 hours at Ironman. Like, can I really double this up and go for 24 hours, in one discipline? I had no idea, sort of no idea what I was getting into, but I have been a lifelong runner. So I had just lots of endurance experience. And I started training as soon as I got that letter in the mail saying, "Welcome to Leadville."
So was there any progression or like, did you do a 50K, a 50 miler leading up to the event, or did you go right into the 100 miler?
I did. I showed up to the Grand Mesa. It's in Western Colorado. It's more west than where I live in Western Colorado. And I showed up to there 50, and I imploded on myself. I mean, the wheels fell off at like 40. And I mean, it wasn't just like that one crookedy wheel. I mean, I was dragging two wheels that were just completely dead. Like I was just like dragging a sled.
Like the
And
broken spoke at Ironman Arizona.
yeah. I was like, man. And I mean, like in that last 10 miles, all that was in my head was like, how am I going to double this? Like, this is insane. This is an insane distance.
Yeah.
No idea anything about the distance. And I wasn't planning on going to Leadville and running the 50 there at all. Quite honestly, I just thought I would do this Grand Mesa one. It was early June, I want to say. And I got home and I said, man, I gotta go to Leadville and do the 50 there. I gotta figure this out. And I thought, well, like if the 50 at Leadville goes horribly, I might have to like just not show up to the 100. Like I might have to figure this out. I might have to stretch this trajectory out a bit longer.
Yeah.
But I ran. I got an 8-mile route from where I was living at the time in the town that I live in currently. I just moved across town since then, but where I lived at the time, I ran 4 miles up to the top of the mountain, one of the mountains nearby me, 4 miles home. I did that before work and after work every day.
Yeah.
I didn't have a training plan. I didn't have a structure. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I don't know. I'll just do that until I'm tired. And one of the days, my rest day, I'll just do it once. And there we go. That's the training plan. And I showed up to Leadville 50, just full of fear, but naive as well to the course or the way the route went. It's a much more challenging course than the 100. I want to say it's 8,000 feet of vertical and 50 as opposed to 14 grand for 100. So not apples to apples, much more runnable on the Leadville 100, much more challenging technical type of stuff on the 50 at that time.
Yeah, it's not to knock on the Leadville 100 course itself, but there are more runnable parts on that course than I thought there would be. I paced from whatever the 50-mile marker is back, basically.
Winfield in. Yeah, Winfield over there.
Yeah. And so I went up and over Hope Pass, and then I went from Mayclean all the way to the finish because we had a couple of pacers. And I was surprised. I was surprised at how much of that course is actually runnable. And don't get me wrong. When I say runnable, I mean flat. You're not going up a mountain. You may not be able to run it because you're exhausted. I got that. But there are opportunities to move a little bit faster than hiking pace, basically.
Well, you're dating yourself because they stopped allowing pacers over there at Winfield probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
And so now you can only start at Twin Lakes inbound, which is mile 60.
Yeah.
So a lot of the pacing crews, the crews and the pacers don't get to see Hope Pass.
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing to go up and over Hope Pass because, again, so when you're going back in, you're going up and over the mountain. And I remember at one point, because we were climbing at like a 30-minute mile with Allie, I looked over my shoulder and the lake was as blue gets. The mountains were back. Like the scene in and of itself was unreal. Like that alone could be a reason to do that event because it was so picturesque.
Yeah, Hope Pass is a pretty special place. When you're looking south from the saddle itself, from the pass itself, when you're looking south, there's almost 5 14ers you could see in the Sawatch range of 14,000 foot mountains.
Yeah.
And then when you turn around and face north, you could see 45 miles of the Leadville Trail that you just covered to get to that spot.
That's amazing.
Do
they still have alpaca or llamas come up there?
They moved them to donkeys this year. The llama farmer retired, just kind of aged out of that position. And I want to say we had donkeys this year. We did have donkeys. A lot of people make a big deal about it. I try not to draw too much, but I remember the hee-haw part of the donkeys, like because they take them off to the sides a little bit, like not directly right.
No, they're not directly on the trail. But I had never heard of that when I was pacing, and so when we get to the top of Hope Pass, I was shocked. I was like, what happened here? So it was a pleasant surprise to see them when we got up there. But
I got a funny story about that aid station. So it's called Hopeless Aid Station. It's probably it's probably half a mile from the summit or the saddle itself. It's on the inbound side, or just shy of the saddle on the north end of that saddle, and it's called Hopeless Aid Station. So I finished it in 2010. A spoiler alert, I'll give you that. And then 2011, I signed back up. We had our firstborn in May that year. My wife went back to nights as a nurse. And so I had a lot of dad duty that summer, and I showed up to 2011 half prepared, and we know what happens when you're half prepared. So I get to, and I had done it the year before. I just didn't pay any attention to my surroundings. I was focusing on the race, rightfully so. But I get to the Hopeless Aid Station, mile 45, and I'm already in my head DNFing as I'm heading up to it, but I'm like, I'm closer to the top than I am to the bottom. But I'm like, all right. And I'm like, I know the things to do here. I got to find the aid station captain. I got to tell him to, take my bib and call it in on the radio, whatever you got to do. And I'll work out the logistics from there. So I find the aid station captain. They point him out to me. Hey, I'm Brian. I'm not feeling great. I need to turn in my bib number here. And he said, okay, you sure? And I said, yeah. And I said, okay. So what are my options to get off of this mountain? Like, we taking horseback down. We take one of these llamas. You got a 4-wheeler around the corner. Is there a helicopter? Just like drop me back down at Twin Lakes where my crew is. Like how we get off this? And he said, it's a great question, Brian. You got 2 options. And I'm like, great. I love options. And he's like, you could go this way or you could go that way. On foot. And I was like, oh. So I looked at him all like just annoyed, and I took my bib out of his hand and I said, I'll go forward with the hopes that maybe I'll feel better in the next 5 miles, because there's no reason to go backwards 5 miles. I might as well go forward 5 miles. If I have to go somewhere for 5 miles, I might as well go forward. I never did feel better that year, and I did DNF at mile 50.
I want to make this a point of emphasis. So you have 10 finishes at Leadville, and you have how many starts then?
12 starts. Yes, 12 starts. I have the DNF in 11 and a DNF in 16 or 17. I'd have to look it up, but it's one of those 2 years.
My point of emphasis is this for those of you who are new to these sports, and we talked about training plans and following them and all that stuff. DNFs are a part of it. If you are in these sports for any particular amount of time, DNFs are going to happen, and DNSs too. That'll happen as well. And if you heard the conversation, you were listening to Brian and I, we were laughing and joking about all of the things that have happened in his time at racing at Leadville. We weren't like, oh my goodness, you're not a real runner. You didn't finish all 12 starts. I think that's a real big point of emphasis for us here at the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, for listeners. Like, shit happens, right? You stomach revolts, you might twist an ankle, like all kinds of things can possibly happen during a race. That DNFs are a part of it. And as long as you learn from it, you can get back out there the next year or, in a few months for a different race if that's the case, right?
I think that's a great point. I do want to point out some of the things that I share with my athletes. Like, DNFs do happen. They occur. You're exactly right. Your stomach's going to go south. You're going to roll that ankle one time, and you might be in your best interest safety wise to get off the course. You might not be, your bodily functions might not be working right. You might not be peeing and pooping and doing all the natural things, right? You might not be able to keep food down. It might just be coming projectiling back out at you, right? But there's never, like, if it's just because it sucks and it's painful, that's not a great reason to DNF, like that's a mindset type of thing, right? Yeah. And so I think there's like a difference in that. Like, I wouldn't want somebody to say like, oh, I heard Jason on the podcast say like DNFs happen, so I'm just going to DNF. Like, right. No, like it's got to be a good reason, think through the processes, think about how much work, take a moment, see how much work you've done to get here. And I think Candace Burt shared it with me years ago. But one of the things I've been doing most recently is sleeping for, even if it's just 20 minutes, but getting a little bit of shut eye and eating 2,000 plus calories worth of food before I give anybody my bib number to say I'm DNFing.
I mean, a few years ago at Black Canyon, it was 80 degrees or something. It was warm, and I was running and I was cold. I was shivering. I wasn't really sweating. And I got to mile 26, which is, I think, Beehive or B something or other. And I was like, man, I should be sweating up a ton right now. Something's not right. So I sat in the chair. I drank as much liquid and took as many salt tablets as I possibly could. And I sat there for about 30 minutes and nothing changed. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to risk my health, from this point forward. So I agree with you. I think you need to just take a moment, assess the situation that you were in. Because look, these things are hard, man. Like they are hard. You're going to be sore. You're going to be tired. But 9.9 times out of 10, you can get through it. Again, unless you have super serious injury or, like you said, your body isn't functioning properly because you're not peeing and pooping. I DNF'd recently at Javelina in October. I went 52 miles. I peed once, and I was drinking constantly. And I'm like, something not right. I had little pain in my kidneys, and I was like, yeah, I'm not fucking around with this. And so I think your assessment of that scenario is spot on accurate. And I think it's cool that you actually relay that to your athletes too, to let them know, take a moment, right? The 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes in a 100-mile race is nothing.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. It's, if you need those 2 or 3, 4, 5 minutes, to assess if you're being safe or not, that might be a sign as well,
Yeah, I just think it's super important. I want to jump into the conversation. I mentioned it a little bit earlier about you getting your college degree. And I remember when you posted about that recently, like there was a sense of pride that came over me. And I was like, this is really cool that not only are you going to get your degree, but you're talking about it publicly. And I think that's super commendable. So similar to how did you hear about Leadville and decide that you were going to send in an application? Like what came about that you said to yourself, I'm going to submit my application to Arizona State University and go to college?
I, I'll back up to like my high school years. I was a high school dropout. I dropped out probably the middle of my freshman year, late freshman year, I want to say, right around that era of school. I did go back and I did some other things. I was like in some programs and some treatment facilities. I'd use air quotes when I say that because they come out in the wash. They weren't. But and the credits that they supposedly said I earned didn't translate to public high school credits at all. And so when I did come back out as a junior and try to get into school and finish a high school diploma, they said, "Oh no, you're about a freshman in school age as far as the amount of credits you have." And I said, "There's just no way I'm going back to be a freshman at 16
Right.
and a half, 17 years old." I said, "It's just not going to happen." So I took a GED. I got a diploma mailed to me in the mail from the state of New Jersey. Back where I grew up, and I moved on with my life. I just kind of never looked back at it, and I thought, yeah, school wasn't for me. I just kind of that's where I was with it. I went into the service, had a bunch of other careers and different jobs in different directions I've taken. I've done quite a few different things. I'm not a master of anything, but I could do a lot of things. But and so coaching, so I started doing this coaching thing in 2018, coaching athletes online. 2023, I went full-time coaching, so I was able to make a living at it and quit the jobs that I was doing, and I just love it. I just love the heck out of it. And so, but I also don't want to rest on my laurels. Like, oh, I got enough athletes. I'm just doing my thing. So, so I started looking into certifications. I went through USCA. I got the ultra running there. I also coach at the high school level locally, both cross country and track and field, different seasons. And so I'm always with the high school kids running and sharing that knowledge. But so I used USA Track and Field and got some cross country certifications and a level 1 certification through them. And I looked into some like nutrition courses, and I looked into like this mental toughness idea. And I just dove really hard into it last year in 2025. And I thought I found something that I was really interested in. And I really wanted to dive into it. It was like a webinar, seminar type of thing. I thought, man, the whole month of November, Jason, I was in like November 1st or like Halloween, I signed up. I was like, November 1st, I'm going to start this thing tomorrow. And I'm going to work through the whole month. I'm going to get this done by December 1st. That's the goal for me for this program. Like I don't want to rush it. I don't want to crash course it. I want to learn a lot, but I also don't want to drag it out to 6 months or anything like that. I just want to get this thing done. I opened up the program on November 1st, and in 2 hours, I was done with the online program and hit send. And I got a digital certification emailed to me. And I was like, that's not what I was looking for. So I was like, man, what am I looking for? Like, what is that? Why was I so invested in that? Like, why, it was like, $150 or something, but I was like, why? Like, the money wasn't the issue, but it was more like, why did I get so far down that rabbit hole? What was I looking for? And I see it in my athletes. We do all this work. We get 2 weeks before the race, and then all of a sudden they're imploding on themselves. And I do it too. I'm part of us imploding on ourselves.
Yeah.
Have I done enough work? Am I an imposter? Do I really belong here? Gosh, I might not look like all the people at the starting line. Like all the negative talk, all the self-talk, but you have greened out in your Training Peaks scenario. You have greened out every workout for the last 8 months. Like, you do belong here. You've done the work. We've done it together. I guided you. You did it. I mean, the numbers don't lie. Like, you should be towing the line, and you should be good to go. But it's no convincing the mind of that, right? So that's where this schooling idea came in, and that's what I was trying to learn in that, what I thought was going to be a month seminar that wound up being 2.5 hours. I was frustrated with. So I just started going deeper down the rabbit hole, and I said, let's just go. Let's do it. Let's look at 2-year programs. And I looked at some 2-year programs, and I wasn't really that impressed. And somehow I got down the rabbit hole. I wound up at ASU, and they have a 4-year bachelor's in sports and performance psychology. And I was like, I'm in. Like, I'm here already. Like, this is what I want. Yeah. It's going to take me a long ass time. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's going to be 2030 by the time I graduate, like when we talk about years, right? But really, like, I want that ability to help out my high school cross country and track teams with it. I want to use it with my athletes. I want to use it on myself. Like, I want to have the tools to give people that mental strength to challenge themselves in whatever they're doing. It doesn't have to be running specifically anymore either. It might grow in different ways too. And I'm showing up because it fits my coaching program currently, but it doesn't mean I'm rooted in that either. Like, it could evolve to be its own practice that I do later on, just some sports psychology practice or something along those lines, but I'm not even there yet. But so I dove headfirst in. I found like the school recruiter guy, and I mean, he just lined it out for me. I mean, we were like talking like twice a day. He was pumped. I was pumped. He was great. And we knocked out all this paperwork to get me in. And I started on January 7th or 10th or just a few weeks ago.
That is so awesome. And I apologize for not stating it to you publicly, how proud I am of you for doing this. But when I said it about 5 or 7 minutes ago, whatever it was, a smile came across your face. And so I want this to be a lesson to you listeners and viewers. If you see somebody doing something that impresses you, fucking tell them. Tell them, because it makes a difference. Like, you had no idea like how I felt until I told you. And I think that we don't do that enough in today's society, and tell other people like, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Well earned. We don't do that enough. So that's my public statement of it. But seriously, it's fantastic that you're doing that. And it brings up a question in my mind, because we've kind of gone through your life from high school with getting a GED to now going to college, and drug and alcohol abuse to sobriety, and triathlon to ultras, and being having no idea what you're doing at an ultra to now coaching others to show them what to do. Perspective. What does that word mean to you?
Gosh, that's a great question. I'm 51, Jason, and I would say like perspective now is completely different than it was 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20, 30, 35 years ago. I think my perspective right now, just to kind of give you the snapshot of it, is that like, I don't I kind of have a direction of where I want to go or where I think I want to go. And I was explaining this in the process of just school alone. Like I kind of know what I want to do with it, but it might, and I kind of know it might not evolve to do that. Right. I might shift gears. I might take it to like addiction counseling and go that route. I might stay in my wheelhouse and stay in the sports psychology type of role with it. But I know I want to pursue it. Right. So I kind of like the perspective is like, let's go for it. But I don't have any hard targets out there at the end of the line of like, this is where I want it to end up. That's for me, that's perspective. Right. And I think I've lived a life of that. Like, I don't think it's something that's new now. Like, I don't think when I took the GED, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'll go to school when I'm 50. Like, it wasn't like that was the thought in my head. Right. Like, I kind of fly willy nilly like that. I change careers, not fairly often, but pretty often. I've done a lot of things in my life. And so perspective is exactly where you're at right now and knowing where you are sort of leaning towards or what you're leaning into a bit more, but it doesn't mean it's going to be the end game in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years.
I'm 52, so we're peers. And I think about, where I was 20, 30 years ago, where am I at today, where I might be tomorrow. And what for me also perspective is how I'm capable of defining success as I move along in life. Where when I was 18 and I was getting ready to go to college as an 18-year-old, and like you're supposed to have everything fucking mapped out, right? Like you're gonna go study this and then you're gonna go do this and you're gonna do all the, and life doesn't work out that way for the vast majority of us. It just doesn't. And so I think about how do I define success today, like versus when I was 18, 25, 35, 45. What does success look like tomorrow for that matter, right? And I think that's where perspective comes into play. And I laugh because I always think to myself, like, my parents and my aunts and uncles would always be like, listen to your elders. And you'd be like, wow, I know everything, right? And as we get older, we realize, one, we don't know everything and never have. And life changes. And the lessons that our parents were teaching us, and honestly, what you are teaching your athletes is perspective. Like things ebb and flow and they move around.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just in your training plan. Race day is going to be that way too, right? You're going to have a race strategy and a goal. And it would be awesome if it was unicorns and rainbows, but sometimes it rains and you've got to make adjustments all along the way. And I wonder, like with your life's experiences, how do you convey that to an athlete, especially when they're going out for their first, whatever that might be? It might be their first 5K, their first marathon, their first 100 miler. Like, how do you convey that? Similar to your logo, your logo in and of itself proves it. It's got ups and downs. How do you convey that to the athlete when you're walking them through that race strategy for that first race?
I got that just a few months ago. I got an athlete that showed up and said he found like I don't even know what the website's called. There's like a pace chart, my race pace, something or other, and you can plug in an event and all the elevation changes in it, and then all the aid stations, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna show up at mile 32 between 8:35 and 8:45 in the evening, and I was like, hey, like, okay, like, I don't want to like just shoot somebody down, obviously, you know what I mean? But I was like, hey, like, let's take a deep breath and like, this is a long day, 32 miles. You have 100 to go, first off. So 32 is just the first third of it. A lot of things can happen, like I think you just got to focus on the things we can control and not so much about like the time frames and like your crew. Just like give them a little more room, right? Give them a little more room to breathe. Like, hey, anywhere between 8 and 9, I should be there. But also, I might be there at 9:30. I might be there at 7:45. Who knows what's going to happen? Right. So I kind of let them build that. I let him build that pace chart. But I said, hey, like, I think of like the Mike Tyson thing, right? Like everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And I kind of use that line quite a bit, maybe too much, but anyway, but it's exactly right. Like, go ahead and make the plan. I'll let you do it. I'll let you feel like you got some structure around it. And there is some structure that's worthwhile out of it. Like, so the crews might know where to be at around the right time. But I said, but give them some more extra padded timing. Like, don't give them a 10-minute window. Because if when you're an hour and a half late, we know the plan with the shit, like,
right.
And And what are you going to do when you get punched in the face? Like, let's talk about it. Like, what are you going to do when you show up at 8:45? How's that going to feel? Like, is that going to mess with your emotional roller coaster? Like, I'm so far behind on my plan. I'm so far behind on this, or I'm running too hard because now I'm here 30 minutes early. Now I got to slow down because I'm here too early. Like, no, like let it, like if you're feeling good and you're a little bit early, yeah, just go with it. And if you're a little behind and you're still feeling good, just go with it. Just go with the flow, like just ebb and flow. I think of my Cocodona 2024. I ran Cocodona, and I had the worst first 90 miles. Prior to that,
you realize how absurd that statement is in the real world? I had the worst first 90 miles.
Yeah, I'll say the first third. 180. No, that's a little too much. But anyway, it's close. But maybe the first 40% was horrible, right? We'll put it in a percentage number that makes more sense. Yeah, first 90 miles was horrible. But previously, at Moab 240, I had an incredible race. I was 11th overall, top 10 male. It was a phenomenal race. But when I showed up to Cocodona, and I'm a coach, I do this for a living, right? But I showed up with the same intention. Like I'm going to go home top 20, a little more competition at Cocodona. I was like, I'm going to go home top 20. I should be at the front. I should be in front of so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And these three people should be right in front of me. You know, I should be right in, this is where I belong in this field. And it wasn't happening. Like the wheels just kept falling off left and right and for 90 miles, I battled it until in my own mind, I was luckily ahead of the cutoffs, but I was way back from where I thought I should be. And that's the whole point of this, right? Yeah. And I did the Candace Burt thing that she told me years and years ago. And she said, do the hard sleep. I slept for like 3 hours with my crew guy in the front seat of the car. I feel bad for you, Thomas. Sorry, still. I apologize again. But then I woke up and I ate like a giant burrito before I went to bed. I woke up, ate another giant burrito. I ate a bowl of scrambled eggs. I ate a bowl of rice. I just kept eating and eating and eating. And I said, you know what? I'm just here to have fun. Like, let's just bring back fun into running again. Because I'm fighting this. Like, I need to be somewhere on this course. I need to be at a certain place. I need to be around certain people. I'm gauging my race and other people's races. And I just let it all go. And I had the best 160 miles at the end of the race. Yeah. I was having fun. I was high-fiving people. I tried to help out in an aid station and they told me to, get out of there. But I was like, yeah, I'll cook some eggs. Like, it don't matter to me. Like, whatever. I'm having fun. Like, I'm on vacation.
Chimney Rock?
No.
Not Chimney Rock.
No, the 200. I can't think of what it is. It's the Fort. Fort. It's the Army base, Fort Camp One. Or
I know which one you're talking about. That was one of my favorite aid stations.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I slept back there with my compression boots on for like 45 minutes in the back of that barn. Yeah, that was awesome.
So I'm gonna follow up your story with my own Cocodona 250. I did it the inaugural year, and so nobody has any idea what this race is about. Like. Just getting up and over the first climb was a disaster.
Crown King, yeah.
You descend into Crown King. It was a total disaster. And I was like, look, we had a pace chart. I was running with a friend of mine, and we had a pace chart, and we were off by like 17 hours after like the first fucking 20 miles. And it was like, you might as well throw that in the garbage, right? And they realized, like, okay, I can't do the thing that other people are doing. And they were taking, like, they'd go to bed and sleep for 20 minutes. And I was like, I can't do that. I need to sleep for like 2 to 3 hours at a time in order to reset my clock. So like you, I would eat a ton. I would drink a cup of coffee before falling asleep. And for everybody who's like, how could you drink coffee and fall asleep? You've been running for 100 hours. Like, you're exhausted. You can fall asleep anywhere at that point. And I would wake up after a couple, 3 hours. I would put on fresh clothes and get on out there and move. And I had a great time once we got past Crown King after the first 100K, basically. And I had such a great time. And I've talked to other athletes who they would sleep for 20, 30 minutes whenever they found time to. I finished in about 110 hours. They would finish in like 108 hours. And they were like, but it was miserable. I was so angry, and I'm like, I finished 2 hours later than you, and I had a blast. Like, I was laughing and, to your point, high-fiving. So everybody's got to do their race their way. But honestly, like, do the thing that's going to help you out, not what you saw on social media from somebody else the year before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Great race, 160 miles. Yeah, and it was good. It was a good lesson, right? I mean, of course, I always try to leave something. I always try to take a lesson out of it. And I was like, man, like I don't have to. I'm not racing anybody but myself.
Right.
And Cocodona just doesn't fit with where I live. Typically, I should be in about 3 feet of snow right now.
Yeah.
And I showed up there at 90 degrees and tried to run to Crown King, and I just left a snowstorm from my own house like the day before, and I was like, "What is going on?" So like those early races for us in the mountain country of Colorado just doesn't work that well. People can do it, don't get me wrong, but it's just not my cup of tea. So I don't think So I knew it was almost going to be like a one and done. For Cocodona. So I was like, why did I put all that pressure on myself to perform and do all the things? And I said, gosh, and I might have missed the first day of enjoying the first day. I don't know if you can enjoy that, but anyway. But what I'm getting at is like, just like you, I saw so much of Arizona. I saw more of Arizona on the course than I had seen in a car. Just because I hadn't been to Arizona that much, and it's not that far for me, but I just don't get there enough. And I mean, I saw it on foot. I mean, I saw, 250 miles of it on foot.
Yeah. Before we get into the rapid fire food question, I want to get into another part. You say you do a lot of things, and we've already touched on so many of them, but you are a podcast host as well. The name of your show is Buckle Up. How long have you been doing it? What did you hope to get out of it when you started the podcast? And what are you actually getting out of it today? Are they one and the same?
All great questions. Yes, it's Buckle Up, an ultra running conversation. I started it, I think it's almost 2 years right now. Actually, at the end of February, it'll be 2 years that I've been going strong with it. I don't know if strong's the right word, but I've been trying it for 2 years. I'm still trying it. But Simon Gerard from San Diego, I reached out to him 2 years ago and I said, hey, I got this idea, but first off, I don't want to be a podcaster. Like that's the last thing I want to do. But I wanted to do like, I was thinking of like, you remember Saturday Night Live skits? Well, I know you do. I shouldn't ask the question, but when you remember Saturday Night Live skits of Coffee Talk with Michael Myers, he was Coffee Talk, right? And I wanted Coffee Talk.
Talk.
And so I wanted to do Coffee Talk, but I wanted to do Coach's Corner Coffee Talk. And I was trying to think of like doing it like Thursday mornings at like 9 to 11 in an open room format, virtual. But you just popped in, you said, hey, I'm Jason. I got Leadville. I know you've done a couple Leadvilles. Hey, can you line out some ideas and some things? Here's some questions about logistics, blah, blah, blah. Just talking to athletes about coaching and kind of like an open door kind of conversation. And Simon said, yeah, I'll think about it. And we talked a little bit more. And he came back and he said, I think we should do a podcast. And I said, I'm in. So we did episode 1. It was just Simon and I. And it's funny, hindsight, I went back and watched that I watched 5 minutes of it is all I could really stand. But it was so garbage, but it was so good garbage. Like it was so raw. I mean, I mean, the room wasn't set up. There wasn't a microphone. There wasn't these cool lights. I was using the laptop camera. Like, I mean, it was garbage, but it was fun. We used Zoom to record it and then like transposed it over to, the RSS feeds and all the thing, I had to do a lot of work to get it. And I told Simon, I said, hey, I'll take the reins of it, but you just got to show up weekly and we'll just start inviting guests and we'll see what happens. And it started, that's how it started. And it was just really talking to people about running, ultra running, obviously Buckle Up. And Simon's got a lot of history with running, a lot of recent history with running and lots of buckles, lots of finishes, lots of races. I know Simon from Leadville from 2021. So it wasn't a new friend by any means, but we got to know each other through the process each week. And we talk on the side and figure out a plan for inviting guests on. And so just Simon stayed on for 60 episodes, so that's a little more than a year. And he was trying to focus on other things in his life, and said he was wanted to take a break from the podcast. And I also things evolve, right? Everything evolves, and I was like, man, I don't really know, like, two guys talking about ultra running. I mean, let's bring a little diversity to it is really where I'm going with it. So I was like, let me see if I can find a female co-host and invite her to come on the show and keep running with this thing. I like the three-way conversation. Personally, I think that, we could each do questions. It's a little more like a group conversation. So I have a friend in Northern Colorado, Mandy Mullen. She owns a Run Windsor and Beyond Miles.
Fantastic person.
Yeah, and I know you guys did some work together a few months ago, or not too long ago, in the near distant past.
Yep.
And so I reached out to Mandy, and my sister-in-law lives near where Mandy lives, and Mandy coached my sister-in-law for a half marathon years ago, and Mandy and I met at in person at a UESCA conference. We happened to sit down next to each other for the conference all weekend, so we talked and exchanged numbers and became fast friends. We had her on, Simon and I had her on the podcast as a guest, and I thought, gosh, she's just personable. She's a great person. She's that enthusiastic. And I was like, that's the fit. And so I was like, hey, like, are you interested? And she's like, heck yeah, let's do it. So so we just did the last 40 episodes. So we just put out episode 100 last week. And so we hit the triple digit mark. We had little party hats on in the intro, and we blew horns, and yeah, I didn't do confetti because I didn't want to clean it up. But
you didn't make yourselves cardboard buckles for Buckle Up 100?
No, we should have. Dang it! We should have asked you before we did it. Now
I asked the marketing guy. I would have hooked you up.
So I'm still enjoying the process. I love talking to the guests. 100 episodes. That's 100 guests. And I've probably only known maybe 35 or 40 of them at the most, like prior to the show. And it's always like a new thing. And now we're getting a little bit of listenership, and we're always asking on our show, like, hey, if you have a friend that you want to tell their story, hit us up and send us their information. We'll have Jason on the show because somebody else said, hey, Jason's a great guy and you should have him on the show, and he just did this awesome thing, or he's just awesome, right? And so I'm like, great, let's do it. I'm not opposed to talking. So we talked to, similar to you guys, we talk about, we talk to the everyday athlete. We get the occasional, faster person on there occasionally. We also like to dive into, like the nutrition expert. We had Coop on, Jason Coop, for like coaching expertise, and most recently, and anything really ultra related. We had guys that ride bicycles for ultra distances, so not just specifically running, although they don't earn buckles like we do. But
I love it. So, and you guys, you put it out on YouTube as well as on podcast platforms, correct?
Yeah, it's you got to meet the listener where they're at. So we put it everywhere. Everywhere we can put it, you can find it.
We'll put it in the show notes as well, the link to it as well, so people can find it. So are you ready for our rapid fire food questions? Which, by the way, feel free to take your time to answer them. I need to come up with a better name than rapid fire. So for those of you who are listening, Brian just showed a package of Swedish fish. The original flavor of, I don't even know what that is. Is it cherry? Would cherry be the original flavor label? I mean, we all know what Swedish fish is. Have you had the blueberry lemon ones though?
No.
Yeah, go get you some. They are so good.
So this is my favorite. So before, I guess I already answered the first rapid fire question, which is the best candy on the market, and it's obviously Swedish fish. And so my family knows this. So for every holiday, which the most recent was just Valentine's Day, I got Swedish fish. For my birthday, I get Swedish fish. For Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, it's always Swedish fish.
All right, so you're a Jersey guy. You said you're from Jersey, and you're living out west now. So this might be a complicated question for you. Mm-hmm. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Oh my gosh, with the pineapple, no pineapple. There's just no way, but it's funny because I have a 14-year-old daughter and she likes her Hawaiian pizza, and I just shake my head every time I have to order it, like for her at the counter. I'm like, could we please
She's
have one
14.
Hawaiian? Yeah.
She's 14. Let her order it on her own, so you don't have to put those
Yeah.
words across your
Yeah.
lips.
I just like shove $5 in her hand and be like, you're ordering your own pineapple.
Have you heard of this more recent phenomenon of dill pickle on white pizza?
No, that's
See, that sounds
interesting.
intriguing, right?
I got a pizza idea. I'm gonna run by you. I ran it by Mandy and she wasn't biting. But I know I got a pizza guy here, so hear me out. A Thanksgiving pizza. So it's got regular traditional dough, gravy, turkey bits in it, some stuffing bits on it. You put some cheese on top of that. Maybe you got some cranberry sauce, maybe cranberries in it,
Yep.
right? And it's pizza. I mean, it's only seasonal during Thanksgiving, right? Maybe it's all of the November or something. Would you eat it?
Yes. And it simply because all you're doing is taking what amounts to the leftovers from Thanksgiving. So Friday, what are you making? You're making a sandwich, right? All you're doing is making an open-faced Friday Thanksgiving sandwich. I'm in. Sign me up.
It should be the Friday Thanksgiving meal. It
Yeah.
should be like you could turn your leftovers, the potatoes, the mashed potatoes.
Yep. I'm in.
I'm hungry thinking about it, and it's only February.
All right. Candy corn. Is candy corn a real candy, or is it just earwax covered in sugar?
It's definitely candy.
Peeps. Are Peeps a real candy, or are they just
no? That's just air. You're getting robbed. We're in the wrong business. We should have sold Peeps because man, there's nothing to that.
There's nothing to that.
Yeah, it's like a sweet tart. Like the amount of by the time you take all the air out of it, the whole bag of Peeps is like one big sweet tart. Not even a big one, a little sweet tart, and they're
glitter on it. That's it.
Yeah, $12 worth of one sweet tart.
Are you a Reese's peanut butter cup fan?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Valentine's Day just happened. Easter's coming up. Christmas was a few months ago. Which of the four, when you throw in the regular traditional cup, is your favorite?
I'm a traditionalist. I'm not swaying. I mean, and that's everything across the board. I don't get the wild and crazy Snickers bar either. I'm just going straight old school Snickers. You got a Milky Way in front of me. I want the straight old fashioned Milky Way. I don't want any of the white chocolates and the other features. No, I'm traditionalist. I'm an old guy, man. I just want the old food.
What about for Oreos? Because Oreos, you have the OG, you have the loaded, you have double stuff, and you have thins now. Which one are you taking out of when it comes to Oreos?
The fourth one isn't even a cookie, first off. Okay. It's just a shaving of a cookie. It's just like a shaving of a cookie. I'm a double stuff. Actually, I have upstairs hidden in the cupboards from the other participants of my house, double stuff Oreos, the family size, but I don't share it with the family.
How do you eat them? Are you a dunker? Do you twist? What's the are you pop it all in one shot like an aspirin?
No, I use the buck teeth method. I take the bottom teeth and I pop off the lid and I eat just the cookie, no frosting, no center cream.
Yep. And
I eat the black cookie first, and then I do the double stuff and the other cookie second. And that's the process every time, everyone.
I love it.
I pluck the top off.
I did this trick with the loaded, and I have not been able to escape it. So I twist it off. I take the cookie that doesn't have the cream and I put it underneath the cookie that has the cream on it, and then I put the whole thing in my mouth. So as I'm chewing it, I'm not getting too much. I'm not getting cookie. I'm getting cream and cookie, and it just mixes so well. And that's my new method for eating Oreos.
I'll give it a whirl in 20 minutes.
What is your favorite chocolate candy? Since we know what your favorite non-chocolate candy is, which is Swedish Fish.
I don't know if it's candy. But I got this thing. We got like a mom and pop gas station on the edge of town, and they carry quite a bit of stuff, and so it's like my little gas station stop before I hit the house. And so I go in there and I roll in there, and I have argued with the lady that she doesn't order enough ring dings. I'm like the cupcake Hostess ring dings cupcakes.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
Yes.
the chocolate on the outside, the cake inside with the cream inside of that.
Yes.
And then she tried to one time. Do you believe this? She ordered the single individual ones, and I'm like, it's got to be the double with a piece of white cardboard underneath of it.
Yeah.
And some of the chocolate's got to stick to the cardboard.
Yes.
And then you got to use your teeth again, and you got to scrape the chocolate off of the cardboard. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So,
am I mistaken? But didn't ringdings used to come in a foil package inside of the box? Because it used to be a box, not plastic wrapper. I think that's the way it used to be. It was
I could envision that, yeah.
And then I used to take take them out of the box individually and drop them into the freezer, so that when you peeled the foil off, then you had like a frozen ringding that was so good. Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make a gas station run before it closes down.
Oatmeal raisin or chocolate chip?
That's a tough one for me, because I will go to like Jimmy John's and they offer both cookies there, and I'm gonna say, like, when my kids were younger, I could get them a chocolate chip cookie. They'd only eat half of it because, like, the chocolate chip cookies are big, or their cookies in general are big. So I would get the oatmeal raisin knowing that I'm going to get a half a chocolate chip cookie anyway.
That's good.
But now they eat the whole cookie. So now I really got to make hard decisions. I'm 50-50. I don't know if I could be split 51-49. I'm half the time I'm oatmeal raisin. I do like iced, like the cheap iced oatmeal, like hard cookies.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I love those. So I think that's where my oatmeal raisin fetish comes in. I mean, I just love the heck out of the oatmeal raisin. Man, if it's soft and it's a good cookie, I'll eat it. But I don't know, they're like $1.50 for like 1,000 of them at Walmart. Like that cookie though, that iced one.
Dude, you're a Jersey dude, so you remember going to ShopRite. It would come in that plastic. You would peel it, and you would like as you were pulling the plastic out, because you were eating 100 at a time. You weren't eating one.
Yeah, I can eat the whole thing from, like, if I'm driving to go run in Western Colorado, like at the Utah state line. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. I'll eat the whole thing on the way there, like both rows, clean it out. Yeah,
I am so with you, dude.
With a strawberry quick.
Yes, I remember that, the rabbit.
With a strawberry quick to wash down the oatmeal, iced oatmeal cookies.
Because we are the same age, do you remember getting the quick tin? It was a tin. You would put the spoon in there to get the powder out.
Yeah, it was square or rectangle. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
Oh, those were the days. My goodness. All right. Favorite flavor of ice cream is?
I'm not a great person for this answer because I'm not a big ice cream person. I know that sounds weird because I do have a sweet tooth, if you can't tell. But I don't eat a ton of ice cream for some reason. There's no reason why. Like, it's not because I'm like lactose intolerant or anything weird. But we have a mom and pop ice cream shop in my little small town, and they do. I'm not a vegan by any means, but they have a vegan avocado.
Ooh.
Something or other ice cream. And when my kids get ice cream there, I'll get like one scoop because I'm not a big ice cream person, but that's the ice cream I'm going for. So it's avocado, something vegan.
We'll Google search it.
It's more like a sherbet, I'd say. It's probably not even real ice cream. Well, it's probably not ice cream because it's vegan, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's probably more like it's probably in the sherbet realm. But I would actually probably lean, now that I'm talking this through, I would lean into the sherbet world more than I would lean into an ice cream. And I would go rainbow. I mean, standard rainbow, Jersey boy, old school Jersey boy, rainbow. And I mean, just a big swirl. You pop the lid off, the swirls of the colors, and I could just. and no one in my house would eat it either. It was like
Because
the
it
black
wasn't ice
sheep
cream.
because it wasn't ice cream. So, but I think it also taught me the quick lesson. Like if I got sherbet, no one was going to touch it. Like it was always going to be mine.
Right. Favorite flavor of cake?
Chocolate. I mean, you
Can't go wrong.
can't go wrong. It's chocolate.
Do you have a favorite type of pie?
Pumpkin pie. I'm like a pumpkin pie freak. Yeah, like the joke in our house is that like the kids ask me to save them a piece because I will eat the whole pie. Yeah, and it's got to have like the tub of
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip. Yeah, Cool Whip, and you got to take the oversized spoon and like and plop a couple thunks on there. You know, 3 good thunks.
You want pumpkin pie with your Cool Whip. I get it. I'm there.
Yeah. It might be more efficient to put the pie in the Cool Whip.
Last one for you, brother. A tray of brownies has come out of the oven. It sit on the counter long enough to cool so you can cut it without making a mess. Are you going corner piece, edge piece, or middle piece for the ooey gooey only?
I'm going edge.
You need like
corners a little too crunchy, a little too much of the crunch side. Center doesn't have any crunch at all yet. But the edge it's got a little bit of everything.
Does the same relay when it comes to lasagna, or do you change places in the pan when it comes to lasagna?
Jersey, East Coasters, right?
Yep.
You and I, you're wearing your Mets hat. I see it, right? And I relate this question to Sicilian pie.
Yes.
And I'm going with a corner.
Yes.
Every time.
10 out of 10 times.
Lasagna corner, Sicilian pie. I mean, I'll get upset at the guy when I show up at my little pizzeria here, which is okay for being out west. But I'm like, man, you don't have a corner? I'm like, you knew I was coming. Like, why?
Oh, I love it. Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a blast connecting with you. We need to keep doing it. We need to put this on a regular rotation, dude. This was so much fun.
Yeah, likewise. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me. And we got to catch up soon. I think on the intro you mentioned that Impossible Whopper.
Yes.
And I bought 2 of them. I ate one too.
Awesome. Have a great one, dude. I appreciate you.
Well, take care. We'll talk soon.
For those of you that have stuck around for a rather long Fireside Chat, thank you so much. Time is the greatest gift that we can give to each other, and you gave me and Brian the gift of your time. So thank you. Again, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're on Spotify and YouTube, be sure to leave us a comment. We are looking for 5 stars. If you're inclined to give us anything less than 5 stars, please email me first, jason@runtrymag.com. I want to make sure that we give you the show that you're looking for. Have a great one. I'll see you next week on the next Fireside Chat.